For some reason, I'd always wanted to work with a live drawer on stage. Maybe that impulse came from the fact that I had worked with quite a bit of technology in some of my shows, and so really I kind of wanted to react against that. I found out about Tom through someone in the arts who recommended him to me. We went into a theatre and I just put him on stage as a little trial run and got him to draw on stage just for like 10 minutes onto a large piece of paper, and I just looked at it and went, I know that will work, that is beautiful.
I think the linkage between dance and drawing is that my vigorous mark making kind of articulates the movement of them as dancers. I guess Gary's looked at the way I create artwork, and that's how he's created the choreography. The first sequence of the show, I'm mic'd up, and that's probably one of my favourite parts, where you can hear my breath and you can hear my mark making, which is tactile, and it had echoes, so I could hear that in the background, so I was playing with that as a soundscape as well, which is quite beautiful. Most of my work is looking at human environment or the built environment, and me and Gary sat down and worked out what my strengths are and how we can tie the two things together.
He's interested in depictions of the urban environment and then creating these sort of eclectic collages out of those. He's interested in linear perspective as well and creating a sense of depth to his work. From there, the work extended into ideas about architecture and spaces that human beings occupy. Hence, what came out of that was the choreography, all those hand gestures that are very angular. So I was kind of also thinking, particularly as it applies in dance, how we are subjects and personalities, but to each other we are also objects in the world. And in dance we use other bodies as objects, as levers, and to sort of push against and I guess facilitate movement. We utilise other bodies in an object sense. Later that sort of developed into the scene where we have 4 people that are dressed in lycra overalls covering their entire features. That too was about, well, the human being as the object, sort of the existential body in a way, the body that has no meaning, but then full of potential for meaning. We've got these statue-like bodies. How can we imbue them with meaning through the way that the other dancers interact with them and utilise them? The term worldhood actually is a term from Martin Heidegger's Being in Time. And it's quite difficult philosophical material about the way in which human beings engage in the world through things and objects. So I just sort of took the idea of the human being in contact with objects of the world, and the sofas are these icons of living from the interior spaces that we sort of occupy. And so I kind of took that icon and replicated it. So there were 4 of them, and the dancers engaged with the sofas as choreographic devices. And And this interrelationship between the human body and objects of the world became expanded through that.
In the second part, I start drawing these organic things, and I guess that juxtaposes the cityscape or the urban environment I was trying to articulate. It becomes more organic, a bit more freeform. And this comes back to my painting process as well, because most of my new work is looking at the landscape lost. So it's kind of that memory of place. I'm not forgetting about what precedes this, and I think that's really important to understand where we've come from.
In some ways, he's like a conductor. You know, they're sort of taking cues from him in terms of the energy of the work, or they're responding against his energy in a sort of a contrapuntal sense. Choreography means to draw with the body, and yet for me that's kind of the absolutely most basic description of what I do. It's actually much broader and much bigger than that, and I think most creators of my generation have at least some kind of fascination or interest in other art forms and other disciplines. What these collaborations do is, I guess it gives the possibility to take the work into sort of different areas of discourse that would be difficult to do with just the body alone. That's something, I guess, that we're all looking for, is, you know, pushing the boundaries of the art form, trying to understand what this is or what this could be. What is dance?